Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Hectorian's 2031 GUBA World Series preview between Viklis's Arabian Gulf Marauders and Ronzoni's Greenville Spinners. Let's get right into it. The Marauders are an offensive juggernaut, boasting the league's top offense with 977 runs scored this year. The Spinners, on the other hand, are more of a small ball club. They focus on run prevention, bringing in the league's second best run prevention unit, with a middling offense that only scored 758 runs. The Marauders will have home field advantage since they have the better record, and they'll host games 1 and 2 in the desert. But I think game 4 is the game to pay attention to for this series. Both teams ran their aces out at the end of the league championship series, so it's likely they won't be out there until game 4. So that's when you'll see Jonathan Quijas facing off against Greenville's ace Carol Prinz. Now, taking a closer look at the Marauders, you can see that they led the league in a number of offensive categories, including batting average, WAR, runs scored, and hits, and they were solid in record throughout the regular season, putting together winning records every single month and getting very hot during the month of June. As for the Spinners, despite being the league's best ERA for starters and leading the league in strikeouts, this team only finished second in runs allowed. Looking over on the left-hand side, some notes to be concerned about is the team's losing record on the road, as well as their losing record in extra inning games, and ultimately their tailspin down the stretch after a very hot start. Quick look at injuries, and you'll see that the Marauders are down 3 men to 1, though the loss of Nadir Kar Al-Din is the big story for the Marauders here. He wasn't exceptional in the regular season. He was pushing an OPS of 800, but that rating set is certainly valuable, and they will be missing a key outfielder for the World Series. These teams squared off just once this season, at least one 3-game series, and Greenville took that series 2-1. It was a high-scoring series, which does not bode well for Greenville, despite the fact that they outscored the Marauders 31-20. I suspect with Greenville's superior pitching staff and the Marauders' superior offense, any sort of offensive series favors the Marauders. Looking at the head-to-head pitching matchups now, both teams are expected to begin the World Series with their number 2 starters, and we'll see number 3 and number 4 in Game 2 and Game 3. We're not expected to see the Aces face off until Game 4 in Greenville, and that should be quite the matchup between Quijas and Prinz. Coming home, Games 5, 6, and 7 will again see number 2, number 3, and number 4 in the rotation, and that's if neither team made any significant changes. Looking at the bullpens, I believe that Greenville's bullpen is far superior with Hand, Ouyang, and Rogers, though the Arabian Gulf bullpen is quite capable with 4 very good arms to rely on back there. Now, looking at each team's lineup, the Spinners bring not much star power to this lineup, but they do have a lot of power and speed that might be able to counter some of what the Marauders are throwing at them. In Arabian Gulf, we see great averages, lots of power and speed all the way down through the lineup. This is really well balanced, plus a touch of Nitisastro, their perennial candidate for the Canaveses every year, despite the fact that the FIB has a ton of top-end batting talent. So to finish, we'll look at some predictions. I think the Marauders take Game 1 behind a strong pitching performance. They take Game 2 at home as well. The Spinners turn it around and take Game 3, as well as the pivotal Game 4 with Carol Prinz on the mound. Game 5, I think, goes back to the Marauders behind Jim Donhauser, and ultimately, it's Game 6 that's the decider, with Jordan Archuleta bringing it home in the desert. It's Marauders in 6, folks, knocking off the Spinners, who were looking to go back-to-back in this rematch from the 2030 World Series. So that does it for us here from Hectorian's basement. That was a lot of fun to put together, using Canva for the first time to do it. Best of luck to both of these teams. It's been a really great season, one hell of a race in the FIB. It's been an absolute blast. This is Hectorian signing off.